Good morning, guys. It is 8:28 Friday. We have another beautiful day. Look at this. Banger of a day out here in North Carolina. Today, we're going to get some recovery miles in. I'm actually not sure yet. Maybe Hoka Skyward X or ST Trainer V2, but we're going to get some recovery miles in. And I also wanted to take some time today to plot out what my next training goal is. Now, over the past few weeks, we've been recovering. I did the marathon in the sky. Yeah, this is the sky. I did my last marathon in the sky here, got that 2:49 marathon PR. And last year, I focused a lot on the half marathon, bringing my time down from about 1:24, 1:25 in the beginning of the year. I actually ran my first race last year, that first half marathon, in the Adidas Takumi Sen 8. I made the same mistake twice using overly aggressive shoes, which I did last year for that half marathon where I came in at 1:24. And then this year I used the Sky when I should have used the Pro 4. But I started off last year at 1:24, dropped my pace down in the summer to, a 1:23.09. I used the Vaporfly 2 for that. And then finally crushed it with a 1:19 at the end of the year. And so 2023 was all about the half marathon. And this year, so far, was all about high mileage and cruising to the marathon. And we did 2 marathons so far this year, the 2:55 in training and the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 here, and then that 2:49 in the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris. And now the world is our oyster. This is one of the best feelings and one of the scariest feelings, committing to the next training goal. And there are so many choices. There's so many possibilities. There's so many different opportunities and races out there. My friend Cam was asking me if I wanted to do a 5K. I've been thinking about going back and doing another half marathon. I know I have Chicago coming up in the fall, but that's 6 months away. So today, what I want to do is figure out what the next training goals, what the next non-negotiables are that I want to commit to for my training, because I like focusing on the system and the process and what we commit to every single day versus just that end result. And I'm hoping that through this, you guys can work along as well, because I know we're closing out on those spring marathons. So we're going to get some miles in today. We're going to do some soul searching, and we're going to make some commitments to how we want to train for the spring and summer. So all right, guys, let's get into it. So whenever I'm starting to plan for my next goal, I like to take stock of where we've been. And Strava actually just released, let me see, and take a look at this. You can see Strava actually released an update, which is going to be super helpful for this. But to the main graph that they have on your homepage, you can see they give you time options now. So you can see how your mileage has looked over the past year. And take a look at this. So this is a 1 year view of my mileage, and you can see it's oscillated up and down, up and down. At the lowest, we hit about 50 miles per week in October, and at the highest, we peaked out at about 120 a few times. So over the past year, this is really the story of my training. A huge focus on building mileage, getting up to that 100 mile per week mark consistently, which we did all throughout this year. I think I'm at about 1,400 or 1,500 miles a week so far this year. And that's what helped me consistently break through that 3-hour mark in the marathon. And now with confidence, I can toe the line at any marathon and feel confident going sub 3, going low 250s, and mileage is a huge piece of that. And last year, training for the half marathon, it wasn't so much about pure mileage. You can see here, like in August, we were about 80, and then we did peak out at 100 a few times, but it was more so about quality workouts throughout the week, doing those race pace tempos on Thursdays. Those were some of my favorite workouts. And so last year, committed big to long runs on the weekends, 16-mile long runs, and race pace tempos during the week. And this year, it was 100 miles per week and longer long runs, so 20 and 22 mile long runs. And now I know I have Chicago coming up, so holding that higher mileage is big on my list, and I'm scaling back up to 100. You can see we're at 52 miles right now on the week, and we'll end at about 80 to 90, and then next week we'll get up to 100 again. But I am looking for, and this is what I want to figure out today, what are those other elements beyond the mileage, beyond just the number that shows up on this graph, but what are those other elements we can focus on? And take a look at this, right? This was earlier this week in one of my first workouts back from Marathon Recovery, 10-mile tempo. My guy Brian Smith sent me the Hoka Rocket X2s. Should probably update the shoe here, but we set a 10-mile second fastest time in the 10-mile on a tempo run. And I wasn't pushing myself a lot last block to hit these faster workouts. And this felt like a good, hard effort, but it was not an all-out workout by any means. And you can see we had here 3 miles in the middle here at 5:58. And then we closed it out with 6 flat, 6, 5:54. And this mile 7 here was 49 feet of elevation gain at a 6:13 pace. So this was essentially 7 miles straight at a 6 flat effort. And I'm thinking this is the type of workout I need to be doing consistently to take my marathon ability to the next level. Because one of the things I discovered with the half marathon is that those Thursday race pace tempos that I was just telling you guys about, those were huge in improving my ability to hold half marathon race pace. And I wasn't doing quality midweek tempo workouts in my last block for the marathon because I focused so much on, where's that weird graph again? Because I focused so much on mileage and holding mileage as a priority. And what I found works well for me is having one primary goal for each training block. And so far throughout this year, it has been mileage over everything else. And now I want to layer on, because I've proven to myself that I can do it, and I've proven to my body, I've proven that my body can sustain that work. Now I want to layer on some other things. And that's going to mean some intensity and a little bit more structure. And when I say structure, that does not mean I'm going to be doing 3 by 1K with crazy workouts that I'm programming in my watch, because that is not how I like to train. I like to train by feel. And that's why my preference is to do these tempo style runs where I just get out there and rip, and I hold an effort for 40 minutes or an hour instead of going on and off, on and off. But structure meaning getting back to that system that I had that worked so well for me during a half marathon training last year of, okay, for different days of the week, I'm going to be doing Tuesday is a workout day on the track. And so let's look at this here. If you look at my training log, let's go back to one of my periods of peak training for the half marathon last year, September. You can say Tuesday, September 12th, look at this. We had a 5 by 1K workout at the track up at Harrisburg with Cam. Thursday would have been a race pace. And look at that. There you go, race pace. 6 at half marathon pace, which was about 6 flat. Look at that beautiful graph there, just really consistent. And then the long run would have been on Saturday, I believe I was doing it. Yep, 16-mile long run at a 7:30 pace. And look at that. We were in the Adidas Adizero SL for that one. And I did 1 mile on, 1 mile off. And so when I say structure, that's what I mean. Committing to having certain days of the week being assigned to certain purposes. That doesn't mean committing to X times X, 3 by 7. I don't like training like that. And I've been reading more literature, more books that suggest maybe training by feel is the best method for some of us out there. And that's really how I like to do it. But the whole point of this video and what I'm trying to accomplish today is, what are those non-negotiables that we want to commit to so that each week going into the week, we know the work that needs to be done, because that's one of the things that worked for me super well to crack 120 in the half. And this was the half performance up there at the Ironman relay, came in at 1:19:28. They actually only gave me 12.98 on the distance, so maybe we didn't crack 120 there, but they gave it to me officially. I think Ironman probably knows how to measure. But regardless, that's what I'm trying to do today. And it wasn't something that I really did a lot in the last training block. I was really committed to mileage. And so let's take a look at this. I'm just going to grab a random Wednesday here. And I did a comparison, Hoka Mach 6 on that day. And yeah, another Wednesday I was doing just 20-mile doubles. And so I was committing to high mileage, like another Wednesday, 20-mile doubles. So that was kind of the philosophy of last block. Let's just try to get in as many doubles as we can. Let's try to bank as much mileage as we can. I wasn't consistently doing that midweek workout because it wasn't the most important for me to get in a midweek quality workout, but I did do really quality long runs like this. Oh, that was the actual marathon. Let me see. Yeah, right here. Like this 26.2 mile marathon time trial coming in at 2:55 official time. And so I know the long run is important and I know mileage is important. Those are the two pieces. Can you see that? Those are the two pieces that we're going to be holding in place for this next cycle, regardless of what the race goal is that we commit to. But now I want to add one or two more things. I'm thinking midweek quality is going to be that next piece for me, but it's going to be what exactly is that midweek quality session going to look like? That's going to be determined by the goal that I pick, the race goal that I pick. Is it going to be 5K? Is it going to be 10K? Is it going to be half marathon? But I'm thinking for being the best marathon runner that I can be, that 2 quality sessions during the week, so the long run and then that midweek session, I'm thinking that's what works best for me. Doing any more than that is a little bit hard to commit to, especially with having young kids and a family and a job. It's just a lot to try to get three quality workouts in per week. So today we do not have a quality session. Well, I don't like to say that. Every run is quality, especially when, look at this, you got such a beautiful day outside, but we're going to get some recovery miles in and we can think more about plotting out our next goals. By the way, guys, I just discovered Boss Man D-Lo. Every once in a while, I discover a new trap artist that's just, man, this guy's fire. Boss Man D-Lo. If you want to get hyped up, check out Boss Man D-Lo. Big Zaw in the building. All right. Running clothes today. We're going to do the Ironman shirt. So this is the shirt that I got from that relay that I just showed you where I got my 119 PR. And every time I bring this out, I feel like a fraud because I only did the running part. And I was telling you guys about this earlier this week. I want to do an Ironman at some point, but this is not the life stage. Now shorts, we're going to go with the John G shorts today. These are my favorite running shorts, I think, of all time. These are the John G 5-inchers. Super lightweight. They have that nice drawstring to tie. And then if you're someone who carries a phone, or it's kind of a little bit small for a phone, but gels, they got the gel pocket in the back here, and they're just great for the summer because very lightweight and they dry quickly. And then socks, I have the OS First socks on today. I actually have a weird thing going on with my toe. But yeah, these socks are great. You guys keep asking me about how to stop getting weird issues with your heel slipping around in the shoe. Get these Features or OS First ankle socks that have this little padded tab in the back. It fixes any of those issues. All right, let's go make our shoe decision here. Now, one of the things I've been struggling with is I like doing high mileage reviews and I like testing the durability on these shoes, but I also am appreciating getting a broader swath and testing a little bit of every brand that's on the market. And so some of the shoes I want to get up to our 100 are Cloud Monster Hyper, the Hoka here, Skyward X, and I still need to get a Mach 6. Yeah, because my feet have been feeling a little weird up here, I do not want to go with anything too tight. My Mach 6 are super tight, so that's why I actually haven't gotten them up to 100 yet, because I got them in probably a half a size too small because their sizing is super inconsistent across the line. Actually, let's take a look at this, guys. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So yeah, the left shoe is the one that's tight. And if we compare it to the Skyward X here, these are both Hoka shoes. Let's see, the backs are lined up. You can see that the Skyward X is almost a half an inch longer than the Mach 6 here. So something weird was going on in the Vietnamese factory that Hoka produced these. That is why I have not gotten the Mach 6 up to 100 yet. All right, I think we're going to go with the Skyward X today. This is going to be a good next one to get up to that 100-mile mark. And it's a really nice day again. It's about 70 right now. Not too humid yet. By the time we get back, it'll probably be super humid, but you can hear the birds chirping and everything. The sun is out. We were supposed to go to meet up with some of Charlie's friends tonight, but unfortunately Ira has some weird sickness, so that got canceled. But we're going to enjoy some time outside today anyway, and that's one of the things I love about running. It brings us outside every day. Well, sometimes not if we're on the treadmill, but most of the days it will bring us outside to enjoy whatever nature has to offer. And sometimes it's pouring rain, like last week when that tree right there was almost sideways in that Saucony Ride 17 video. But today we got the birds out, we got the sun out. It's going to be a beautiful day to get some miles in the Skyward X and do some plotting on the low, scheming on the low. Shout out to Drake. Man, we have to walk down here because it's so beautiful. One of the things that I love about running, but also can be a little bit of a dark side, is how goal-oriented this sport is, just by nature of racing. And it's not like another hobby like clay making or doing sculptures or baking. I mean, unless you're into competitive baking. But in this hobby, in this pursuit, there's races. And for many of us, if you are racing, you're going to put a goal to it. And so the positive of that is that it drives you toward accomplishing something. And I think having a sense of accomplishment and achievement and doing something good is one of those things that drives us as people. It can help you get out of the bed in the morning to have a sense of purpose. But the dark side of it is it puts a lot of pressure on us, especially if you have a certain personality type, to need to feel that we're hitting a certain goal to validate our time spent on this hobby. And so the first about 3.5 years that I ran, I didn't race at all. And I ran for the enjoyment. I didn't do any sort of structured training. I had no idea what zone 2 meant. I just ran for the love of the game. And I still run for the love of the game. But after getting into racing, there's a different, not even internal pressure, but there's this external expectation sometimes, I think, that if you're running, you have to be training for a race and to hit a certain time goal. And this is one of the things that gets under my skin about the Boston Marathon in particular, with the time qualification goals. That is not my goal, to run the Boston Marathon. It never has been my goal, and I qualified for it in my last marathon. And I don't mean to be flippant by saying this. If that is your goal, that's great. But the important piece of that is, if it is your goal, I want to make sure I'm not conflating what in general people aspire to with the Boston Marathon or a certain time goal with my personal desires, my personal goals, what's going to be good for me and what's going to make sense for me as a runner. And that's why Boston Marathon was never my goal, because I know that's not my full potential. And that's what the motto that I have, Up Your Best, is all about. It's about how can I reach my full potential. And I don't think running a fast race time for me means I'm reaching my full potential. And that's why I do these training goals, because it's a commitment to consistency that for me personally helps me reach my full potential. And whether I run a 2:27 in a marathon or a 3:27, it doesn't really matter. That extra hour or 10 minutes or 5 minutes on race day does not matter. It's more about the 3 months and 6 months leading up into it. And I think that's the positive side about training for a race, is we can use this as an opportunity or an excuse to build a better system, and with that system reinforce some better habits and commit to living a certain way that's going to improve our general quality of life. And so that's what this is all about. I'm trying to figure out what are those next little things that I can do to improve my overall quality of life and the way that I'm approaching not just running, but my week in general. All right, let's get into this run, baby. Guys, another good run in the books. It was supposed to be a recovery, but pace was a little faster. Yeah, average 7:04 pace. We've just been moving and grooving. I've been locked into this low 7 pace for the past week or so. It's just what's felt good. Rebuilding mileage. I'm going to hit 80 to 90 this week, and just holding on to the 7 to 7:30 pace has been solid. I haven't needed to drop down to that super slow range for me, which is 8. And I told you guys one of the goals of this next training block, so we can add this to the list, is faster daily miles. So closer to 7 to 7:30 versus the last cycle I was more like 7:30 to 8:10, which is much slower than is suggested, or not much slower, but is on the slow side for what my fitness level has been. So 10 miles in the books in the Skyward X. This is a banger of a shoe, man. I'm going to save that for the 100-mile review, but man, do I love this thing. I might just start crushing mileage in this every day just so we can get it up to 100 because, yeah, I'll save it for the 100-mile review, but solid shoe. All right, I'm going to go grab a recovery drink really quickly, and then I want to talk to you guys about this one word that's been on my mind and that I was thinking about while we were out there on the run. Dogma or dogmatic, meaning subscribing or believing in a certain set of ideas and holding to that set of ideas over anything else. And the reason why I wanted to talk about dogma or being dogmatic is because I've told myself and I've prided myself, not just with my running philosophy, but my general life philosophy on never being dogmatic. And so what that means is when there's new information introduced, having an open mind to changing my beliefs based on whatever that new information is. And so the dogma that I have followed, and let me open this thing. This is the Hoist drink. I got these at the race. I still need to reach out to them. They're pretty solid. They're not a sponsor yet, but I do like them. This is the orange flavor. Let's see how it is. Orange tends to be my least favorite flavor out of any of these artificially flavored. I don't know if this is artificially flavored. No, it's not. But out of any of these packaged fruit flavors, orange tends to be my least favorite. But let's see. One sip. Everybody knows the rules. Hold on. I got to get my hobby jogger hat on for the action shot here. Pre-order link is going to be live soon, so stay tuned. All right, one sip. Everybody knows the rules. Tastes a little bit like high C, honestly, but I'm so thirsty that anything that I drink right now is going to taste fire. But as I was saying, the dogma or the theory, the belief that I've subscribed to over the past year, really since December 2022, has been high mileage. That's informed everything from my eating and my nutrition to the footwear that I choose, and this belief that running more is going to make me a better athlete by increasing my aerobic base, making it easier to hold a higher fraction of my fastest pace possible for a longer time, and ultimately making it a little bit easier to run 2+ hours in the marathon because I've done that so many times during training. And that's the general philosophy of high mileage training. However, new information being introduced, my race result, new books I'm reading, questioning in general whether my approach to high mileage, and not just my approach, but the general emphasis on zone 2 training, low and slow, is the right way to run for me right now at this stage of development. And one of the things that I'm realizing is you can't run 100 miles faster than zone 2, or you can't run 100 miles fast, period, per week, unless you've run 100 miles slower per week. And the thing is, well, yeah, you can do that, but it's a higher chance of injury. And so I was extremely conservative in 2023 and early 2024 through this Coast Guard marathon training block. And now I'm thinking, questioning the dogma of low and slow, taking it easy, maybe we amp up the intensity. And so that's where I'm landing for this next training block. I'm happy that I built up this aerobic base, that I've strengthened my body to sustain 100 miles a week. And now I want to add in some new stimulus to the body to force myself to get some more adaptations. And so I'm not questioning the high mileage piece, and I'm not even questioning the low and slow. I'm just realizing if we do the same thing again in this block, we're going to get the same results. And so that new stimulus that I want to introduce is running the daily miles a little bit faster. And what I was realizing out there on the run, I want to commit to doing one quality midweek workout. And this week we did that tempo session, the 10 miles tempo at a 6:10 pace. And so next week, maybe we'll run it back. But I think having some sort of pace goal around where we want to be for that midweek workout session, that's going to be super key, because one of the pieces of dogma, one of my things I am dogmatic about right now is not doing structured workouts, not doing reps and interval training, because that is the least enjoyable way for me to train. I don't like programming anything into these watches and having it beep at me and having to click off segments on my watch. And I broke 130, 125 in the half marathon without doing that. And I ran sub 3 without doing that. So that's one of the things I do want to continue, is training by feel, but having some sort of a pace goal for my midweek miles outside of just hitting that mileage target. So that's what we're going to be thinking about, and we'll circle back on that later. Now I want to shower, and I think we might take a little bit of a trip, because one of the things that always helps me get the creative juices flowing is stepping out of the house, getting some fresh air, also introducing some new kit, some new gear. We're not going to introduce any new shoes today, well, unless the place we're going has anything interesting, but I've been rocking with the Skyward X and really enjoying these. I don't think we need any new shoes, but I do want to get, because my feet have been feeling a little bit banged up, maybe a new pair of slides. So we're going to check out Fleet Feet. Might step into the Whole Foods next door to get some surprise fire tonight for Charles, but I think that's the plan for the day. Let's do it. Big za. Good job, Skyward X. All right, guys, so slight change of plans. It is, what time is it even? It is 11:31, and Mason has a half day today, so I have to pick her up. And that's why the Jeep is halfway out of the parking spot, because I made a change of plans. We are going to pick her up and then do Fleet Feet and Errands. But we got to refresh our slides some way, somehow. So part of being able to run high mileage and progress in training and build aerobic fitness is the ability to recover quickly. And one thing about last block is I did not do a lot of strength work other than hill running, and it is extremely hilly out here, and stroller running. And so that's one of the things I've been debating this block. Do I add more traditional strength work, more traditional gym work back in? It's one of the tricky things with being a hobby jogger with a full-time job and having to pick kids up from school, and not having to, it's a privilege, but just other commitments and responsibilities in life. We're not just full-time running, and we're not even just full-time working. And even professional athletes, if you have families and other ventures, you're going to be pulled in a few different directions. And so for me, it's an opportunity cost equation, or to say it differently, I have to decide between, am I going to get more benefit from an 8-mile run with the stroller a few times per week, or going to the gym and doing 30 minutes. And I think in what the data or my increasing performances has shown is that right now it makes a little bit more sense for me to be spending more time running, or at least it did last block, especially because I'm training for the marathon and not a shorter distance event where having power is more important. And I've been really good at staying healthy over the past year and a half. But I'm also mindful of the fact that the more that I run and the less that I do strength work, it's one of those things where is the hourglass running out, or the scale's going to start tipping the other direction, where I'm starting to weaken the body a little bit more. And there's some research done on this. There's not a ton of research done on strength work and performance. And that's what I'm most concerned about, is performance and getting the best performance that I can right now, and especially over the long term. So that's one part. The second part is longevity, and that was one of the reasons I started running, is for longevity. And we do know that strength training can be huge for longevity. But I'm about to hit this main road here, so I will see you guys in a little bit. All right, 12:16, got to turn the Larry June down. We are going to do a little bit of plaza jumping here. Well, jumping within the same plaza. Fleet Feet. Then we got the Whole Foods. Can we get the Whole Foods? I don't think we can get the Whole Foods logo. And then if the bagel store is somewhere over there. If that's open, we're going to hit that too. But Fleet Feet first. Okay. Yeah. Are you hungry? Okay, we can go to the bagel store first. All right. Bagel boys.
Bagel boys, yay! Bagel boys, yay!
I think that's Coach K's car. A basketball coach. Bagel boys. Alright, so Bagel Boys was moderately successful. Mason got her bagel, but they didn't have vegan cream cheese, which they usually do, and they had on the menu. So she also got some toys that are going to be super loud. They gave her a whistle. So time for Fleet Feed. Hopefully they have the UFOs, because we're 0 for 1 currently. Or I guess we're 0.5 for 1, because Mason got a snack. Fleet Feet! Alright, hopefully they have what we need. Let's do it. They have our size. Men's 11, $60. Alright, step and feel. Ooh, a lot firmer than the Hokas. Alright, quick walk checks. Man, this is so much firmer than the Hoka. I might just buy another pair of the Orlux online, because these are not that comfortable, Mace. These are not that comfortable. Oh, these are the socks. These are the best socks. Alright, they had them, but they just weren't that fire. So we were 0.5 out of 2. Basically 0 for 2, except Mason got her snack. So last stop Whole Foods and then home. But Hoka is way better than those UFOs. They were just stiff and not the vibe. Alright, Whole Foods. Here we go. This is going to be successful. I know it. Maybe we'll do a fire tonight. Who knows? Alright, let's do this. Fire. Boom. Now look at this. They have a whole non-alcoholic case now at Whole Foods. It's a wave, it's a vibe, it's a movement. Kind of want to try something new. Oh, wow, grapefruit IPA. So we're going to try one new one. I think Charlie will like this one. Grapefruit IPA. Oh, oops. I've had Brewdog. They're good. And then a goodie. They don't sell this in every store, but Athletic. This is the Cerveza, the light copper. I've had this before. It's really good. And then we got to get some crackers and we'll be good to go. Bang, vegan blueberry muffin. That's what we're going to get. And now we need crackers. All right, there we go. This is why sometimes you shop at Aldi so that other times you shop at Whole Foods and get absolutely fleeced. But the thing about Whole Foods is that they have stuff that other stores don't have, like all this vegan cheese and a better selection of the non-alcoholic beer and the vegan blueberry muffins. Not every store has that, so you gotta pay the Whole Foods tax sometimes, unfortunately. All right, time to check out. Always gotta get the receipt. You guys know how it is. You wanna hold the receipt? Thank you. I think our Whole Foods haul was successful enough to negate the lack of bagels and the UFO slides being disappointing. But we got wood for the fire, 2 cases of non-alcoholic beer, 1 new one to try, and a bunch of good stuff to make fire charcuterie tonight. And I think we're gonna have some good inspiration for our new 2024 training goals. Fire is always good inspiration. All right, watch out. Alright guys, time to drive home. I'll see you in a bit. Well, we gotta put this cart away first. We're not gonna be the guy to leave the cart in the middle of the parking lot. Don't be that guy. Alright guys, 2:41. Now, we gotta go check this out. Charlie's up to some genius, absolute genius stuff back here. So look at this. What up, Reevesy? Thank you. Also, I said he had some weird sickness. It's not that weird. He just has a cold thing, but we can't hang out with people. But anyway, look at this. So we had this rack bookshelf in the playroom, and we're converting it into Roni's nursery. And Charlie took the bookshelf and she's making it a garden bed. So look at that. I always say you got to be resourceful. You got to work with the stuff that you have. And she's turning the shelf into a garden bed. You're not going to get flamed. People are going to think you're an absolute genius. Look at this, guys. Just as spring is the time for planting the seeds of our training for the rest of the year, it's also the time for planting the seeds of actual stuff. What are you planting today?
I don't know. I think we'll do Swiss chard, kale, maybe some collards. I'm going to do marigolds on the outside, and maybe within some flower beds. And then I got some watermelon seeds, cucumber seeds, and a few different varieties of squash.
Fire.
Which obviously will not all fit into that one thing. But
And what's this dried stuff?
we're going to put that in the bottom because we don't want to fill up. That's a lot of soil that it would take to fill that.
We should save some of that for kindling for the fire.
Sure, we also have a whole bag of like leftover garden clippings.
Oh, okay.
So we're
Alright, guys, good luck. Alright, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, 3:35. She said it's complete. I don't know if it's complete, but she said it looks cool. Let's check it out. Oh, this is fire. Yeah, Reevesy, don't go in that, buddy. What, you planted?
Swiss chard,
Swiss chard,
2 types of kale,
kale,
summer squash,
summer squash,
cucumbers
cucumbers.
so far, and then we're gonna do some other stuff.
Very healthy. Where are the
What
donuts?
unhealthy?
Where are we gonna grow donuts?
The donuts.
Reevesy.
Yeah, don't do that, okay?
Then what about what's this? Did you plant anything up here?
We haven't planted stuff.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting farmer planting outfit. All white and blue. So you plant the seeds in spring to reap the PRs in the fall, right?
Ira.
Alright guys, time for a taste test with Charles. So we got these non-alcoholic Elvis IPAs, the grapefruit ones, and this is one of the things I did a few years ago. It was almost 2 years ago now. I stopped drinking regular beers or just alcohol in general, switched to non-alcoholic, and I think that's one of the best things you can do for recovery too, because it just ruins your sleep, and especially if you have young kids, it's just a lot easier to recover without drinking. How is it? It's more seltzery. Yeah. Well, you see it also has 20 calories. The Trail Pass ones had 90. That's why it's seltzery. It doesn't have any body to it. But yeah, I could crush these. Alright, the beer is mid, as the kids say. But one more trip for the day. I'm not going to take you guys. Mason and I are going to pop to the store, get some more ingredients for the fire. Ah, mosquito! Dang, April, and they're already getting to me. Alright, see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so 4:30, the optimal time to start the fire if you have kids, because then the fire will be died down and the excitement will be died down by the time it's bedtime. So let's do this thing. I can get this thing out of here for now.
Can you make the tent fire this time? Stuff? Oh, little jars. The fin pieces. Look how the fire is doing right now.
Oh, I should have left it there. Grandmother. Just to have another angle. No. I mean, this is gonna be like minute 40 anyway. Now that's a fire, man. That thing is rip roaring, and we just got that log down there in the middle. That's like the aerobic base. You got to get the log in the middle because that's the foundation of everything. Good looking fire now. All right, it's 7:29, and we had a friend, Mr. Rain, come and end our fire. Now we just got to put it out officially. But that's the beauty of North Carolina spring. Man, it's always the saddest thing, putting out the fire at the end of the night. But you gotta do it, it's part of the process, man. It's like running the race after weeks of training. The little victory lap. This is the way to celebrate a nice fire. When the fire's still going against the rain, that's when you know you've had a good fire, but it's time to put them out. Pass me my stick over there. You gotta separate the logs for good measure. Wow, it is really starting to come down. Alright, one last little. Alright, that is out! And it is pouring. Let's go.
I don't care about
That's all, folks. Alright guys, so the fire is out and the rain foiled my plans to do my last little wrap up out there in the back. But we're out here in the front and I wanted to wrap this up by talking through my finalized training goals that I'm going to commit to for this spring. So let's refire up the Strava machine here. And it's funny because this morning I showed you guys that new feature they had with the graph. And then this afternoon it was gone and now it's back. Oh no, Okay, so I guess the graph with the switching is just in the progress tab. So first goal I'm going to commit to is 100 miles per week. Again, we are going to hold that. So you see that this is the 3-month view all the way up until the sharpening period for my marathon, where I dropped my mileage down to 76 and then 66. I held 100. So I held 100 for over, 10 weeks from January 1st. That was 111 that week all the way to March 18th. We were above 100 that entire time. So for the next few months, we're committing to 100 again. I might bake in some down off recovery weeks, but my baseline, my standard is going to be 100. I'm not going to do any streaks. Again, if we have to drop it down to 75, because if you look actually here in the year view, I did this one period, or even the 6-month view, you can see I did this one period of 3 weeks of 100, dropping down to 75, and then 3 weeks of 100, or this was actually 110 to 112. So 100 actually feels pretty light to me right now. I'm going to hit 90 this week, and with one more double, I could have hit 100, and it did not feel like too much mileage for the legs, and I've been clipping off at around a 7 flat. So first thing we're going to commit to is 100 miles per week. Second is running these everyday aerobic miles a little bit faster this cycle. So between 7 and 7:30 is where I want my aerobic miles to be. So anytime you see me mark a run in Strava as aerobic, that means it's a building block run, a normal everyday run, right in that pace range that I'll be running most of my weekly mileage in, except if it's an explicit recovery run, I'll also mark those as recovery, or a tempo run, a workout. So that's the second thing. I want these to be between 7 and 7:30. You can see yesterday we did this 12-mile run between 7 and 7:30. We actually finished around 6:50 to 6:30, and then same thing today. A little bit of a fast finish. That's been super nice doing these fast finish runs. Today I picked it up down to about 6:50, 6:40, which was nice as well. So second thing, faster daily mileage. And then third, I'm going to commit to one mid-week tempo run or faster run. And tempo is one of those words where it means a lot of different things to different people. In the Jack Daniels system, the tempo run is done at threshold pace. In the Hansen system, the tempo run is done at your marathon race pace. So for me, I want this tempo to be faster than my current or my last marathon race pace. So I really want to be working this at 6 flat or faster. And I think to put even a little bit more specificity to it, if we could get 5 miles per week in the 5-minute range. And is my phone about to die? No, it's at 7%. It's just taking forever to load on this run. But let's see if if we can get 5 miles per week, and you can see in this run, we got 4 miles in this run below a 6-minute pace. So 5:58, 5:58, 5:58, 5:54. But I think 5 miles per week at that 5-minute pace, that's going to be a little bit of a push. Not too much of a push because we almost did it here, but an appropriate nudge in the right direction to start running this midweek workout a little bit faster. So those are the 3 things. And there's this concept called periodization, or progressively stacking blocks on top of each other. And so different periods of training, we'll get a little bit higher intensity or higher mileage. And so the intensity this time is going to come from faster miles and one quality session during the week. And you can see what I'm leaving out this time is going to be the weekend long run. I'm not putting a specific goal to this. That's probably going to end up looking like 20 miles on most weeks, at least 20 to 22. I'll probably start working in some marathon pace into those, but for now, I'm leaving that out of the goal, because if I want to commit to doing a half marathon, I treat the long run a little bit differently. I don't add in a bunch of quality, or I do add quality, but I don't make the long run the emphasis. I'll do it, and this is my last 20-mile long run of the block. You can see on this guy, this was a fun one. We did 2 by 3 miles. So this was a structured workout from the Daniel system, 2 by 3 miles at threshold. My legs were beat up at this point. 6:14, 5:59, 6, 5:49, and then 6:05, 6:14. That's not a good split. You want a negative split these long runs. But I'm going to leave it open to not commit to doing serious workouts yet in these long runs. It might be nice to have a month or so at least where I don't make the long run the emphasis of training, and I make this midweek workout the emphasis of training. That's what works for me really well for half marathon training. Again, if we go back to my splits from last year, or the way I structured my workouts from last year, I was doing these really quality Wednesday runs. Let's see if I can find one for you guys. Wednesday, or no, was it Thursday? Regardless, I was doing really quality Wednesday or Thursday race pace runs during the week, and my long runs, it's probably a little bit more important to show you, were not that impressive. Look, this was an 8:30 pace run, 16 miles long run. Another one here. This was on the treadmill. Average, probably 7:40 pace. This distance was tracked incorrectly, but the whole point is that shorter distance training for me, I have developed a little bit more of a system. I'm still figuring out how to optimize for the marathon training, but this midweek tempo, that's what we're going to focus on. I like having one goal to focus on at a time. So we are going to be hammering some sub 6 miles during the week. I'm really excited. I'm super excited to try out some of the older race shoes that we have. Not older, but some of the ones we haven't brought out in a while, like Alpha Fly 3. Maybe we'll get in the Endorphin Elite. Dust off the Adios Pro 3 for that. This is going to be fun. So I'm amped. I'm fired up. We're going in a little bit of a faster direction for this next block. I really hope that this was helpful for you guys. I hope that this format was helpful for you guys. It was a little bit more of me just talking to you guys here out on the front porch for some of the day. And then it's always fun to get out and about around town. And that's one thing that helps me a lot when I'm in these periods of rebuilding and refocusing, trying to get re-energized for the next thing, getting out of the house and getting outside. And that's what we did today, enjoying some beautiful raindrops out here now. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. One more thing, guys, we're out here finishing up editing, and these slugs are still just absolutely invading the porch. They're everywhere. I have to go inside because it's so disgusting. So we did not solve the slug problem yet, and they're climbing up the walls and everything. So I might have to just throw salt everywhere. Ugh. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.